Right, IAS16, one of my favorites. It's there. It's been around for a long time. Thankfully, they haven't messed around with it. In fact, the standard is just pretty much not overridden by the conceptual framework in its definitions. It has retained the sort of old-style definition of what an asset is in terms of the probability that we will see future economic benefit, and we can also measure reliably, versus this new recognition business going on where it's the same thing, where we see relevant information, which is only focusing on the asset on its own, and faithful representation, which tends to focus on the flows, the reliable recognition of flow and the material uncertainty around it. But that's kind of the core, the key point here. We have the old style definitions staying. Now, let's move on. So here we then move on to look at the measurement model. So here again, coming back to the conceptual framework, how we can tie this in. We're looking. The issues here are regarding measurement certainty. So what base do we use? Do we use a cost basis or a historical cost, or do we use a fair value basis? So really the conceptual framework asks us to decide the basis, if you like. In deciding the basis, we should look at the characteristics of the asset, and also we should look at the future cash flows. Are we using this thing on a day-to-day trade, making goods for trade? Well, most likely then use the historical cost method. This is the most relevant method, right? Because the present value of those very stable costs will probably be most equal to the historical cost. And so there is some certainty with those flows. But is the asset susceptible or sensitive to market conditions? Are the flows variable? Well, then you want to be going for a fair value model, because if you like, you have these changing variable inflows coming in. And so as you can see with this, we have little measurement uncertainty. Measurement uncertainty is minimal, and that's the advantage there. So the other bit here is this question, like I say, cost and revaluation. So everything in terms of derecognition, yes, that's fine. We derecognize and everything goes straight to other components of equity from the revaluation reserve. We don't put things through the income statement when we deal with IAS on those revaluations, but you would know this coming through from FR anyway. Right, cool, and that is IAS. And that is, I believe, I'm sure, just looking over the page to make sure, that is IAS 16.